Self-improvement isn't necessarily hard once you get the basic fundamentals down, which is go to the gym, get good sleep, eat a good clean diet, make more money, and good relationships and etc. Basic stuff everybody knows, right? Well, the problem lies is that although most people know these fundamental things, certain people kind of like tiptoe in it or are unaware where or how to start when you got multiple gurus telling you to do things like meditate, go to the gym, and which all those things are solid advice. But in order to experience those things in the first place, you're gonna have to experience this thing, which is the catalyst to your self-improvement journey, and that's in experiencing your FTE. And for those of you who don't know, it basically stands for this event. And let me explain to you what a FTE is, or fuck this event is. It's the stage or the prerequisite that sets you on a path for changing your life for the better when you experience something so horrendous, like something so bad that it makes you fed up with your current life and forces you to change. Like your life is so shitty to the point to where like you can't stand it anymore and you just like, you literally have to change. And for you to experience this, like I said before, you have to experience something so messed up, or not messed up, but something so fucked up to a degree where it's like, I can't live like this for the rest of my life. If I'm on this earth for 70, 80, hell, if some of you guys are lucky, even 90 years, would you want to live the same life you're currently living right now? And by you experiencing this event, it puts you in a position where it's either do or die. I don't mean die like literally, I mean in like a metaphorical sense. Like if you don't do anything, nothing ever changes. And I gotta make you painfully aware that most people tiptoe through life. They don't feel the need to change. They don't feel the need to change their environment or their situation because it's just good enough. That comfortable, stable job that they're at, it's not too bad, but it's not, because it's not too shitty to the point to where like they feel the need to change. It's not too bad, it's not too good. It's just okay. And so by doing that, they just settle for it. But in order to become like the greats, obviously we know that mediocre is not an option, right? So to paint this narrative into your head, I hope this makes sense as I'm explaining this. Let me give you an extreme example. Imagine two people on a race to success, right? You got guy number one. One guy wants to change his life and his direction, but he has a stable job, which is fine, you know, it's comfortable. Has an okay-ish relationships with his parents or a partner that he doesn't really like, but if given the opportunity, he would probably increase his standards. And then you take guy B, lost his job, his fitness, relationships, and finances, basically like the basic human needs, wealth, health, relationships, is all going to shit. And if he doesn't do anything about it to improve within 1 month, he's going to die. And by knowing that fact, who do you think is going to improve the fastest? Is guy A, the one who's living a mediocre, satisfying life? Or guy B, the guy who's hungry and one that entire life is going to shit, and if he doesn't do anything about it, he's going to die? The answer is pretty obvious. You know this, don't play dumb. And guy B would definitely decimate guy A because guy B is hungry. Like, he's hungry for success. You know what I mean? His life is so shitty to the point to where if he does not improve, it literally means death. Now, I tell you this scenario to not like make you scared or make you like think about your own death, although you should be aware of it. It's to paint a narrative to like let you know that, one, you don't need to have this extreme like fuck this event for you to change, but change happens in dissatisfaction with one's life. You shouldn't want to change, but instead you need to change. The soft ass advice that you see from some of these self-improvement gurus telling you things like, oh, you're enough right now, you should be satisfied with what you got, which to some degree it might hold true, but like the way I interpret the way they say it is almost as if you should be like stagnant. You should be okay with what you got right now. But I'm telling you the exact opposite. I know what I'm saying sounds kind of and I know it sounds kind of like backwards, but like you should not be satisfied with where you are right now. Like obviously you shouldn't be ungrateful for like the stuff that you have, and you shouldn't be like a bitch about it. Like obviously don't be a little and be like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. Work towards it, right? But you obviously know that it's basic common sense. We as ambitious people like to take accountability and responsibility for the stuff in our lives. We're not hopeless losers. And if you're expecting me to say shit like, oh, don't be so hard on yourself, oh, it's okay, you know, all this stuff, and expecting me to give you this basic prep talk that you've heard countless times, then this channel is probably not for you, because right now you're not enough. And good enough is not acceptable or exceptional, it's mediocre. Now, if you want to be mediocre and be average, that's cool. But I highly doubt you'd be watching a video like this if that's really what you wanted. But if you're anything similar to me, which I assume if you're watching this channel you are, you should probably hit the subscribe button, then mediocre is not an option. A mediocre lifestyle is not acceptable for us. and should probably scare you because 90% of people are in that mediocre category. So to diverge yourself from this category, what I want you to do, and this is an action step, is to write down your hell. And what I mean by this is to write down what your life is going to look like weeks, months, or even years from now if you do not change. So instead of like me telling you like the basic self-improvement principles like reading, meditation, going to the gym, socializing, learning new skills, which are all valuable stuff, right? It all wouldn't matter if you skip this step because that's basic premise advice that you already know. So right now, I want you to write down your hell. Like write down specifically, what does your life look like if you do not change? And what do you not want for yourself? And become disgustingly like aware and clear and descriptive about what that looks like to you. And for example, I will tell you what would happen if I don't change and if I don't boss up immediately, you know what I mean? So if I don't change, I will work a 9 to 5 pursuing someone else's dreams rather than my own for the rest of my life. And I have the freedom that I desire, although surface level, which is like to travel the world, make lots of money, attract higher quality, beautiful women rather than these fucking degenerates where I live. And to not be a shell of my potential, which we obviously know that like when you live a life that's not in alignment with your potential or your core purpose, you know what that leads to, like a life that leads to mediocrity and then later on regret, and then you die on your deathbed with lots of regrets, which 90% of people do. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for myself. So let's move on. A fuck this event is required for you to change. Or if not, you could be like one of those other subgroup of individuals that are like, you basically learn from other people's mistakes. There's a quote that I want to mention to you, and you're probably familiar with this too. It goes, a smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. This applies here. Look at most people you admire or who have become successful and look at what happened to them for them to enable that change to happen to become successful in the first place. Something had to happen to them for them to change. And then look at most people around you who are fat, broke, unhappy, and at a job they hate, but it's just good enough and you should be satisfied with what you got. Like this pussyfied advice goes around so much times that it's just, someone has to be the one to tell you. I'm not gonna give you this soft ass advice because I want you to win. I'm not like these other fucking like soft ass self-improvement gurus telling you to just slow down and like be satisfied. F that. If you want more for yourself, go for it. Don't settle for less. Like, of course you should be grateful and show some level of gratitude, of course, right? That's like the basic premise fundamentals, but you already knew this. You don't want to be a piece of shit and be ungrateful because it's like, you always got to remember, someone always has it worse than you, right? But you should always try to strive for something more and become aware of what you do not want in your life and do exactly what you want. Then once you break through that limit of listening to this pussyfied advice, that's when you begin to develop a stronger why. That why is the same thing that would keep you going to the gym, which honestly, the gym is probably like one of the best things that teaches you valuable lessons about life and that you can extrapolate and apply to your real life and be real introspective about how you go about developing yourself, which is a whole other topic, which I'll make another video on. But you get my point. Because from the gym, you learn hard work, discipline, patience, perseverance, and that applies to your self-improvement. So this is where I give you the conventional self-improvement advice. Get your fitness on point, because once you get your fitness on point, everything else bleeds over, right? And then books. The same way you build your body is the same way you got to build your knowledge through books. When you have more ideas to work from, you start to create more meaningful projects and pursue things of your own curiosity and your own interest. Then apply what you know, and then success compounds from there. So all in all, don't settle for less. That's really how you start self-improving. After you do all these actionable steps we discussed in this video, the transition period from where you are now to where you want to be is going to compound, and you're going to look at yourself 3 months from now and be like, damn, I've really changed. That's how you really start improving. So once you become clear about what you do not want in your life, and you actually take action to implementing, to actually gaining new knowledge and new gains in your life that's going to impact your life holistically, you're going to be unstoppable. You feel what I'm saying? So take action, keep improving. I'm out because it's like 2:06 a.m. I don't know if you guys can see the time. We're grinding. I'm going to see you guys. Peace.